Good afternoon, I'm Robert Martinez, and today I'm going to be showing you the sheep brain lab. Alright, so we're going to start off with the exterior, my apologies, portion of the sheep brain, okay? So this is the cerebrum. This top part right here is the cerebrum, and we'll get into this part later. For right now, we're going to focus on the cerebrum. Right, so if you look closely, we're going to look at the sulcus and the gyrus, okay? So the gyrus is going to be the puffy part of the brain. So there's multiple of them, and they have a different name when they're plural, but this is the gyrus. Then we move on to our sulcus. So our sulcus is located right here. Best way to describe the sulcus is like the indention of the brain, the part that actually sinks in versus the puffy part, which was the gyrus. So that was the sulcus. And then we're going to move on to the longitudinal cerebral fissure. So what this actually is this line right here that runs long ways throughout the brain. It's going to separate it into two different hemispheres, but this right here is a longitudinal fissure. Stop to the meninges of the brain. Okay, so when you look at the meninges of the brain, there's this film of protection. Some of it's already came off of this sample, but that outermost layer, that film that covers the brain, is going to be your dura mater. Okay, so there's the dura mater. Directly under the dura mater, that first layer after the dura mater is going to be the arachnoid. Okay, so the arachnoid, and then further down deeper, that's actually going to be the pia mater. So those are the meninges of the brain. All right, so now we move on to the midbrain. So the midbrain, we're going to start off by looking at the cerebral pinnacle. The cerebral pinnacle is actually located right here. Okay, so now we're going to go to the superior colliculus. So I open up the brain. We're going to look at this half right here. We're going to be talking about the superior colliculus. That's going to be located right here. Okay. And then we go furthermore, we go into our inferior colliculus. And you can actually see the inferior colliculus right here. All right. So the next two things we're going to talk about are the pons and the medulla oblongata. So I'm going to open it up just so you can get a better in-depth idea of where the pons is. So the pons is right here, runs along here. Okay, now when we talk about the medulla oblongata, this is the portion right before the brainstem. So we're talking about right here. Okay, if you open it up, you can see it right here before the brainstem. We're going to first talk about the vermis. So the vermis is located right here. And then the lateral hemisphere, you're basically breaking down the brain into two parts. You have the right side and the left side. That's your lateral hemisphere. Right side of the hemisphere, left side of the hemisphere. All right, so now we go on to the pituitary gland. So the pituitary gland is actually located right here. And if it was attached to the brain, it would be around this area right here. Now we move on to the olfactory bulb. The olfactory bulbs are right here. And then we go to the olfactory nerve, which is basically just right here. It's what holds the olfactory bulbs together. So now we're moving on to the optic nerve. The optic nerves, mine kind of came off when I pulled the brain out, but they're actually located right here. Okay? The optic chiasm is where they come together in the middle. And then the optic tract is basically this piece here. And pause. All right. So next we're going to look at the ocular motor. The ocular motor runs right here. And on my particular brain, I don't see the trochlear sticking out. I looked on both sides. I did not see one sticking out. So it is not visible on mine. We move on to the trigeminal. My apologies. The trigeminal. And that's going to be right here. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the abducens. And that's actually located right here. Pause. It's right here. The thalamus is going to be right here in this area. The hypothalamus is going to be here. So then we're going to go on to our, pause it. The lateral ventricle is located here. The septum pellicum, right about here. And the choroid plexus, right about here. Pause. The third ventricle is located here. The cerebral aqueduct is located in this area. The fourth ventricle is located here. And the arbor vitae is located in this area. Move on to the white matter. So the white matter is going to be the innermost part of the brain, that light area here. That is the white matter. When we put the brain together, we look at the outside of the brain, and this is going to be the gray matter in this area here. Lastly, we have the dorsal and ventral roots. So you may not be able to see it on my brain, but if you put the two halves together, and we come down here by the spinal cord, it'll run right along here near the spinal cord. That would be the dorsal and ventral roots. Now that we have looked over the parts of the brain for the sheep brain lab, that concludes my lab for this week. And I hope everybody has a good weekend. Y'all stay safe out there. We're going through crazy times, and we'll see you next time.